I'm Dr. Teresa A. Smith, Dr. TAS, and welcome to Talk with TAS. I'm honored to have with me today Tina Siemens. She's an award-winning author, community leader who is a true testament, as you just heard, to perseverance and faith. She immigrated to the United States as a child and has become a bridge builder between cultures. Her journey is filled with a lot of powerful lessons of never giving up and growing through hardships and starting. You've told us a little bit about your backstory with the immigration, but you immigrated to the United States from Mexico, 1977 as a child.
Correct.
Now, in the Papillon's article, you mentioned this experience taught you resilience and adaptability. How have these qualities influenced your journey as a cultural bridge builder and an entrepreneur?
For me to have had the opportunity to walk the road, the journey that was laid before me, uh, taught us so many lessons. Because if we had been a people to give up, we there was many opportunities that people would have said, oh, I don't blame them for giving up, because things were so difficult, making a new world, a living in a new world, of learning a new language. Because when I was 8 years old, I only spoke German. And so for me to learn a brand new language in a brand new country, attending school with not understanding a single word that was being talked or demonstrated, but my teacher demonstrated by coming and taking my hand and leading me to the different areas in school, and demonstrating, this is where you do this, like the hand washing sink at the back of the classroom. She demonstrated, this is how you do it here. So I learned by demonstration, and that is what I always say, love is a universal language. Words don't have to be spoken. If we walk, if we show love, then we are building a bridge with somebody. Those early people, the community leaders in our community, accepted me and my family, and they demonstrated by just showing us what love looked like. And therefore we learned, little by little we could learn what love looked like.
You talk about in the Papillon's article that I wrote that this marked a new chapter in your life. How does that continue to shape your understanding of what it means to be part of the fabric of America?
It is an endless opportunity for those who have the drive, for those who have the will to just move forward. This land is a land of opportunity. It is a land of immigrants. It's a land of where dreams can truly come true. Dreams that I didn't even know I had as a child have become true. And I am just walking with such joy in this pathway to have seen and demonstrated to me by others how to build these bridges. And now in turn, I can give back by continuing on those bridges, because what we give is a gift, but it is a gift is only a gift until you really give it away. And so for me to give away the gift that I was given makes the multiplication factor keep on going. And so I am just so honored to be able to be that bridge builder for future generations. I love taking my grandchildren along, showing them this is what it took, and not just my grandchildren, but everyone that comes through the museum. Like, I love children coming through the museum where I can show them, look, this is a possibility. I was a little girl that didn't speak any word in English, and I met a president of the United States in person. Like, those are opportunities. Becoming a part of the fabric means being an American.
Talk a little bit about the museum and what it's been like to have your own museum. What are some of the features of the museum? And there may be people who may be interested in giving to the museum. So talk a little bit about all that.
The museum, talk about dreams. That was a dream 20 years in the making. I always dreamt I wanted to represent history because history is my love language. And so I wanted to represent history that connects to today, because history is alive if we just shine the light on it. There is lessons to be. So I dreamt of having one day a museum. I tried putting it together with the Gaines County Museum, which is here in Seminole, but they're so landlocked. And one day, our friend Cyrus Webb said something, and that made such an impact on me. He said, when you're not invited to somebody else's table, set your own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with the museum. I dreamt of it for 20 years. I traveled the world to gather information firsthand through archives and through physical walking where my ancestors had walked. Netherlands, Poland, Ukraine, Canada, South America, Mexico. And all of these places were very important to me to be there physically in body and to absorb what my culture was, where I came from, where are my roots, and to find out that it was so far spread apart, and to bring it all together is when I started writing just a memoir for my children and grandchildren. And that's what my first book, Seminole, it was all about. But then it became a published book. And then here came the museum. And I love timelines. So I made timelines of all of these different places that I had traveled to where my ancestors came from. And through that, the Comanche Nation was here in Seminole before any of the white people came. And so I love the Native American culture because they were here. This was their land. This was their dwelling places. And so when I started putting all of these things, different cultures into my museum, one day I found out through a genealogy site that the Mennonites have that my third cousin, 3 times removed, immigrated from Ukraine to Kansas, while my family went from Ukraine to Canada, Canada to Old Mexico, where I was born, and then to the United States. But my third cousin had immigrated in 1877, literally 3 months prior to a 100-year mark before I immigrated. So he immigrated with his parents at the age of 14 from Ukraine to Kansas, and this was 1877. And he then volunteered as a 19-year-old to become the first missionary in Oklahoma with all the natives. After, if those of you who have read the book, Trail of Tears,
Mm-hmm.
that's when all the natives were forced to the reservation in what is now the state of Oklahoma. And the Comanche Nation that was here in West Texas also were forced to go to Oklahoma. And so my cousin is now a grown man, young man, volunteering to become the first missionary to the Comanche Nation in Oklahoma. And then I did not know. I knew that they were Mennonites that had immigrated from Ukraine, same place as my ancestors were. But until I started doing this museum, really dreaming about how can I make the museum happen, I found out one day that the first missionary that got permission from Chief Quanah Parker, many people in the world know, he was the last Comanche chief, and he was half white and half Comanche because his mom was kidnapped, and she grew up among the Comanche. She became the chief's wife, and she had 3 children. Quanah Parker was the oldest one of those 3 children. And so he gave my cousin permission in person to build what he called the Jesus House. And that church is still in
Ah.
existence 130 years later in Indiahoma, Oklahoma. And so these natives, they were able to come to the grand opening of my museum and in their full regalia, doing these drums and dances that the natives do so beautifully. And they were just in tears that our cultures were reunited after all these years of what my cousin started. And so they are a huge part of my museum, but they then gave me my Comanche name, which means being a bridge. So my Comanche name is Puiat Posakani, meaning I'm a bridge. And so that is an essence of what the museum can do, of bridging all these different cultures. And I always say, if we concentrate on our similarities, there are many more similarities than differences. And that is my goal for the museum, to just educate, teach, love your history, and you will connect the dots.
Well, now, Tina, if somebody was interested now, does your museum take
Oh,
donations?
absolutely. They can go on my museum website, which is the West Texas Living Heritage Museum, and donations would be so welcome because they would be used exactly for the furtherment of connecting.
And, Tina, I haven't had a chance to visit the museum, but I know one day I will.
Oh, that would
But
be
listening to you, you come alive when you share the history.
oh,
And I don't know if there's I don't know if you guys got audio components built in as people look at the different artifacts, but if not, you might want to consider incorporating it,
yes,
because when you talk about it, it just brings everything to life. And this may not be the right way to say it, but you love it, or you're so fascinated by it.
yeah,
When I hear it, I can't help but to be fascinated also,
thank
because
you.
your
Yes,
passion is just so evident.
thank you.
Just keep that in mind. I want to welcome two people that have joined us. Eleanor
Receive.
Schmitz, 2024, and then Nettie Henry Rimple joined us also.
Oh,
Thank you guys for joining us today. Um, but, you talked a little bit about, well, you didn't, but I'm going to say, in December of 2024, the Little Sandals That Could, Tina mentioned that when she came to America, she only had her purple sandals. And
yes,
so this children's book is your second book, if I'm not mistaken,
correct.
Tina. And so it was recognized, and received an award from Chosen Pen, because the story is so captivating. And so when I think about the Little Sandals That Could, and then Seminole, Some People Never Give Up, it's all about perseverance and survival.
Yes,
I know that you want to share your story with your grandchildren, I think I've heard you say before,
yes,
but you're an author now. Now, it may have started out that you just wanted to share the story with your grandchildren so
yes,
that they would know the history and how you got here and your family got here. But for those of us who are readers, what is the message that you want us to leave with when we read Seminole or the Little Sandals That Could? What message do you want us to leave with?
that no matter how humble the beginnings, your journey is what you make of it. You can make it a bridge for somebody else. You can just uh, demonstrate what it took for you to get where you're at. And then if you add that with compassion and with the yearning for others to learn from my journey, then you will be able to take something away and apply it to your life. Because if it was meant that I was given a, a silver platter with a golden spoon on it, I would not have been able to do it. But it was pork and bean containers. That was my playing dishes. It was little butter dishes, plastic butter dishes. I had no little toys that were my playing time to set the table when I played with that little with the doll that I couldn't take from Mexico, and I got a little bitty doll here after a couple of years, and I played with the simple things. But that is just start with what you have, whether it is a lot or little. But everything that you multiply with will then increase your chances of becoming recognize, of becoming that voice and making your story and your journey worthwhile somebody reading, taking the time to read it. And so anyone that reads either one of my books, I pray that you will be inspired by what my family went through, and then apply it to your life, and you will just be able to carry it forth, because your message, your story matters.
In the article, we talk a little bit about some of the things that you use to, I'm going to say, balance you out, keep you motivated, to keep you grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the article, we talked about your daily practices, like prayer and your scripture meditation that ground you. Can you share a specific, maybe challenge that you have used these practices to keep you grounded? Because sometimes, Tina, people, they hear what we're saying, but they can't apply it to their own life, or they think maybe we're just saying stuff that we really don't use this stuff to get through. Because I don't know what else you're gonna use it. Well, there's lots of other stuff you can use to get through, but I'm not trying to use none of that stuff. But God really does see us through. Our faith sees us through. Is there a particular challenge where you've used some of your practices to help you get through it?
While you were speaking, and that's a great question, one story came to mind when I was about between 9 or 10 years old. Me and my family were on the cotton fields here in West Texas for 12, 13 hours a day, and 100+ degrees heat. We were dropped off before the sun rose, and we did not have a cooler. We didn't have a Yeti cooler with built-in ice chests. Uh, it was plastic bags that we had our sandwiches in. By lunch, they were usually soggy, and there were several days we ran out of water. But because we didn't know the culture, we didn't know about sunscreen. And so this one particular day, and I just remember it as if it was yesterday. I feel the blisters on my neck. My neck was so blisters, I always jokingly say the blisters had blisters, because it was one big blister up on another because we were so sunburned. And then we have dust storms in West Texas. And so it was this red sand that we would walk through the cotton fields all day long. And this particular day was very stormy. And so those blisters had red dirt of dust on them. And I was sitting in our tub, and I was just sitting there crying and didn't know how I could splash water on this sore neck of mine. And there was a soft knock on the door, and it was my dad saying, "Tina, are you okay?" They had heard me cry in the living room, which was only a 2-bedroom mobile home, but so it wasn't a very big space. But Dad had heard me crying, and he said, "Tina, are you okay?" And I said, "I don't know how to wash my neck because it hurts so bad." And a father and a mother that know how hard their kids are working, and every dollar was already spent before it was even earned. So much for 5 years went to pay off immigration attorneys. And so every week we would need to have all the money. We barely had enough for groceries. And so we would designate that money toward what needed to be paid so that we would be able to move our immigration status forward. But on this particular day, Dad said, "Tina, hurry up, wash up. When you get done, then we can all go to the grocery store and I'll get a gallon of ice cream. And you can eat as much as you want." You know what? I washed my neck so quickly that it was no big deal. I washed it and I got dressed and we went in our old Buick car to the local grocery store. This car which we had all gotten a spray can and spray painted it with brown spray paint dripping all over. But that car took us to the grocery store and we got a gallon of ice cream. And us children, we did not even have to scoop it into little bowls. We could all sit around the table and just eat directly out of the gallon ice cream. That was an experience that I will never forget. My parents didn't have anything to bribe me. You don't have to go to the cotton field anymore. This is the limit. But you know what? That ice cream did it. And it's the small things. If we will stop and look around, the small blessings, the small things that we are so fortunate to have today in abundance, then all of a sudden our bigger problems will not seem as bad.
What does success look like for Tina Siemens or Katerina? I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Siemens, what does it look like to you?
To be content.
Mm,
Because
to be
success
content.
is achieved in so many levels. But if the contentment is not there, then none of it would be celebrated. And so if I am content in today, in the situation I'm right now, then then tomorrow is a brand new page for me to experience something new or to just finish what I've started. But today, I'm content and grateful for everything that has been given to me.
2024 has been a wonderful year for you. Um, can you tell us a little bit what 2025 might have in store?
I feel like 2025, the gate is wide open, and I am going to walk through it with such newfound confidence in my mission.
Mhm.
You, Cyrus, are amazing groups that we're part of is giving me the confidence that I can say, I will move forward. I will not stand still, because standing still, well, there is really no such thing as standing still. It's either you're moving forward or you're sliding
Yeah.
backwards. So if you are in a transition between I want to move forward, then hold on to something that really is meaningful to you, a goal that you might have, and that will be the rope that you can start climbing forward to. And so for 2025, of course, in January, I hope to bring my third book onto the market and start talking about the amazing story that will be. And then I have mad lots of different ideas and wishes for the museum, and doing these recordings is definitely one of them. And so I want to expand on the museum, and then in my personal life continue healing physically,
Mhm.
and and just being the best that Tina Siemens can be, so that I can be a vessel to continue laying planks on this bridge that would allow others to just walk with me and see that it is possible if we don't give up. This bridge may look like it's just two posts stuck on either side of the river on the banks, but it is up to us on laying the rope, and then plank by plank, we can build that which we want to cross over into. And that is what 2025 will be for me.
Well, Tina, it has been my honor to have you as my guest today. Talk with Taz. Your story is an incredible reminder of faith, resilience, and perseverance, and how we can overcome challenges if we stay focused. We can get stronger and build meaningful connections,
Mhm.
because you do that everywhere that you go. And I'm looking forward to seeing what 2025 has in store for you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was truly, I looked forward to it, and I absolutely loved every minute. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much, Tina. I appreciate you too. And to our audience, thank you so much for joining me for this edition of Talk with Taz. And until next time, make sure you take care of yourself first before you take care of anyone else. Bye now.
Bye.